Some more of the old heads in the WNBA who still can't seem to get with it and continue to just spread negativity across the league and also seem to never be happy about anything.
The WNBA is at a critical juncture, and the air is thick with tension and anticipation. The recent decision by the Women's National Basketball Players Association, WNBPA, to opt out of their collective bargaining agreement, CBA, has sent shockwaves through the league and the sports world at large.
I was kind of expecting it, honestly. It's disrespectful.
As we delve deeper into this electrifying narrative, we will explore the implications of this bold move, the financial realities that underpin it, the historical context that shapes current negotiations, and what lies ahead for both players and fans. This is a story filled with suspense, ambition, and the relentless pursuit of equality in sports. The bold move, opting out of the CBA.
Surrounding Caitlin Clark and all of the dirty plays and hard fouls being committed on her, but I feel like it's gotten pretty absurd, and it's honestly downright embarrassing to see how the WNBA and the media coverage of the WNBA.
In a dramatic turn of events, the WNBPA announced its decision to opt out of the CBA signed in 2020. This choice has sent ripples throughout the basketball community, signaling a potential work stoppage as both sides scramble to negotiate a new agreement before the current one expires in October 2025. The timing of this decision is monumental, coming off a season where viewership soared by an incredible 115%. It seems counterintuitive for players to risk everything just as momentum is building.
I feel like that was just like a disrespect, like total disrespect.
A season to remember. The 2024 WNBA season was nothing short of historic. Stars like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese captured national attention, drawing fans into arenas and onto screens across the country. Yet despite this surge in popularity, financial challenges loom large. The league reported losses of approximately $40 million this year, raising critical questions about sustainability and profitability. The WNBA's most viewed season came after a series of high-stakes games that showcased not only athletic prowess, but also compelling narratives that resonated with fans. The finals were a showcase of talent, drama, and emotion, drawing in casual viewers who may not have previously followed women's basketball. However, this newfound attention has not translated into financial stability for the league. The stakes are high. With players demanding higher salaries and improved benefits, the pressure is mounting on league officials to respond. The WNBPA's leadership believes that players deserve more than what they currently receive, around 10% of league revenue, especially given their contributions to skyrocketing viewership numbers and merchandise sales. Kelsey Plum, vice president of the WNBPA, has been vocal about these issues, stating that players deserve a larger slice of the pie. The urgency of these negotiations cannot be overstated. If an agreement is not reached before the current CBA expires, there is a real risk of a work stoppage that could derail all progress made in recent years. Financial realities, a double-edged sword. The financial dynamics within the WNBA are complex and fraught with contradictions. While revenue doubled from $100 million to $200 million over 5 years, operational costs have skyrocketed due to investments in player benefits, such as charter flights and improved facilities. These enhancements are essential for player welfare, but have contributed to substantial losses.
WNBA season starts next week, and you guys, there is so much hype, so much buzz surrounding it, but there was one headline that stood out to me, and that is the fact that the WNBA is going to start chartering flights this season.
Revenue sharing dilemma. Currently, WNBA players receive only about 10% of league revenue, a stark contrast to their NBA counterparts, who enjoy a 50% revenue share. This disparity has prompted players to demand a more equitable distribution of earnings. Imagine if the WNBA adopted a similar revenue-sharing model as the NBA. Average salaries could skyrocket from around $119,000 to approximately $700,000, with top players potentially earning up to $2 million per year.
When we look at player salaries, people wonder, why are NBA player salaries 100 times higher than WNBA salaries? Because the TV money was 100 times higher in the NBA than it was in the WNBA.
Historical context. Learning from past mistakes. The WNBA stands at a crossroads reminiscent of pivotal moments in NBA history. In 2011, prolonged negotiations between NBA players and owners led to a lockout that disrupted the entire season. The fallout was severe. Revenue dipped for the first time since 1999 due to lost games and fan engagement. Avoiding a lockout. For WNBA stakeholders, avoiding a similar fate is paramount. A work stoppage could derail years of progress made in elevating women's sports and alienate fans who have finally begun to embrace women's basketball on a larger scale. With expansion teams on the horizon, like those in Golden State, Toronto, and Portland, the stakes are even higher. The threat of a lockout looms large as both sides prepare for negotiations. Players are acutely aware of what is at stake. They do not want to lose momentum or alienate their growing fan base by missing games or entire seasons due to disputes over pay.
But with all of the drama currently surrounding the WNBA, on top of the low-paying salaries, some of these players are questioning if they'll even return.
The future is bright. Expansion on the horizon. Despite these challenges, optimism abounds regarding the future of women's basketball. The WNBA is set to expand its roster with new franchises slated for 2025, increasing from 12 teams to 15 by 2026. This growth represents not only an opportunity for increased revenue, but also an avenue for showcasing more talent across different markets. The expansion draft. The upcoming expansion draft, scheduled for December 6th, promises to be an exciting event that could reshape team dynamics and fan engagement. With new franchises entering major markets like Golden State and Toronto, there's potential for heightened interest and investment in women's basketball. The expansion draft will allow teams to select players from existing rosters while also providing opportunities for new talent to enter the league. This influx could invigorate competition within the WNBA as teams vie for supremacy in an expanded landscape.
Crosses over to the rack with a scoop layup, up and in! Oh my, there's a bird in the house!
Marketing magic, building a brand. As viewership rises and merchandise sales soar, up an astonishing 76% this year, the marketing strategies employed by the WNBA must evolve alongside its growth trajectory. Engaging fans through social media platforms and creating compelling narratives around star players will be crucial in maintaining momentum. The league has already begun leveraging its star power effectively. Caitlin Clark's rise has been instrumental in elevating interest in women's basketball. Her electrifying performances resonate with fans across demographics, drawing comparisons with NBA stars regarding viewership numbers during regular season games.
With the WNBA season ending for many teams, there are already so many players heading overseas to play during the off-season. But with all of the drama currently surrounding the WNBA, on top of the low-paying salaries, some of these players are questioning if they'll even return.
Finding common ground. While it may seem unlikely that players will jump from a 10% revenue share to 50% overnight, there is room for significant progress. Historical context shows that both sides can find common ground if they prioritize dialogue over discord. Kelsey Plum's leadership during these negotiations will be pivotal. She embodies both ambition and pragmatism as she advocates for her fellow players while recognizing the need for sustainable growth within the league. A potential crisis. What happens if they don't reach an agreement? The looming threat of a work stoppage hangs over both players and league officials like a dark cloud. If negotiations falter and lead to a lockout, a scenario reminiscent of past NBA disputes, the consequences could be dire for all parties involved. The ripple effect on fans. Imagine a world without WNBA basketball. College tournaments would dominate television screens during March Madness, while professional athletes sit idle during peak viewing seasons. Fans who have invested emotionally in their favorite teams would be left in limbo, searching for alternative forms of entertainment as they wait for resolution. This scenario would not only disappoint loyal fans, but could also deter new viewers who might have been drawn into women's basketball through increased visibility during regular season play or playoff excitement. The rise of competitors? In this hypothetical scenario where negotiations fail completely, there's potential for rival leagues or organizations to emerge, perhaps even one dubbed WABA, Women's American Basketball Association. Such an entity could capitalize on player dissatisfaction and offer more lucrative contracts or better working conditions than what currently exists within the WNBA framework. While this may seem far-fetched now given how entrenched WNBA is within American sports culture, the reality remains that if dissatisfaction persists long enough among top-tier talent, it could lead them elsewhere seeking greener pastures. Players Kelsey Plum, a leading voice. Kelsey Plum has emerged as one of most vocal advocates for player rights within WNBA. As Vice President WNBPA, she understands firsthand what's at stake, not just personally, but also every athlete striving make living playing professional basketball. Her passionate speeches during press conferences resonate deeply with fans and fellow players alike. "We want what we're worth," Plum stated emphatically during one such address. "It's time we get compensated fairly for our hard work." This sentiment echoes throughout locker rooms across league as players band together, advocate rights.
How do you guys, speaking of like the connotations of the WNBA, like, and the big conversation about WNBA salaries and all of that that's been going on, what is like your, from a player and from players in general, like your teammates, what is that opinion and how do you guys handle all those conversations?
It's so interesting because I think that, we talk about the CBA, right? So the collective bargaining agreement, and in the NBA, they have percentages of revenue shared for the players, right? So jersey sales, obviously their TV contracts. You see these every year, these contracts get bigger and bigger and bigger, right?
Yeah, massive.
But that's because their CBA, it negotiates where the, if the owners are making certain types of money, they get that as well.
Got it.
In the WNBA, that's not the case.
Angel Reese, a rising star with real struggles. Angel Reese's rise has been meteoric. Her performances have captivated audiences nationwide. However, despite her fame, bolstered by significant sponsorship deals, her base salary remains shockingly low at less than $75,000 per year. Reese's story illustrates how even star athletes face financial hardships within this system. "I can't even pay my rent with my salary," she lamented during an interview earlier this year. "It's disheartening when you see how much we bring in but don't get compensated accordingly." Reese's candidness sheds light on systemic issues affecting many female athletes who may not have lucrative endorsement deals or high visibility like she does. Looking ahead, what needs to happen? As both sides prepare for what promises contentious negotiations ahead, October's deadline, several key points need addressing. Revenue sharing, adopting models similar used by NBA ensure players receive fair compensation, relative league earnings, player benefits, ensuring access necessary resources, like charter flights, should prioritized alongside salary discussions. Expansion strategy. While expanding teams generate more revenue opportunities downline, it cannot come expense player satisfaction welfare. Conclusion. A call for unity and action. As we stand on this precipice between potential growth or stagnation women's basketball, it is clear both sides must come together. Open minds and willingness compromise. The WNBA has proven its worth national stages. Now it must ensure its athletes compensated accordingly. In this high-stakes game where every point counts, much like court, the outcome ultimately defines how history remembers this moment women's sports. Will they rise together or fall apart? Only time will tell as we watch this thrilling saga unfold. The future electric, Curiosity abounds as we anticipate how these negotiations unfold amidst rising viewership numbers and burgeoning talent pools within women's basketball. As fans rally behind their favorite teams and players, one thing remains certain: women's basketball here stay, and it's only just getting started. The clock ticking down towards October 2025, a deadline looming ominously overhead like storm clouds gathering before rain falls. Will cooler heads prevail? Or will passion drive both parties apart? Whatever happens next, it promises excitement suspense unlike anything seen before.